welcome to another video. Brianna here. Today I wanted to give you guys another writing update. My last writing update was about a month ago, and if you missed it or if you've missed any of my writing videos and you want to go back and watch them, they're all in a playlist down below, so you can go check that out. But if you've been keeping up with my writing journey, basically last month I updated you guys letting you know that after I completed my draft, I completed draft 1 of this book during NaNoWriMo 2020, and I had intended to continue editing it throughout this entire year. And I got really stuck and I got really depressed and I stopped working on it, and that was what the last writing update was about, was just kind of like my struggles with that and trying to get back into it, and also showing off the art that I commissioned of 2 of my characters, which if you missed that video, I'll just pop this up here. It's framed so it's got a reflection, but this is Rainy Summers and Dice Sky. Yes, are their names. I will not be taking any questions at this time. Anyways, so in that video I talked about my struggles with writing and feeling very like isolated and alone and working on things and not having anyone to kind of like go to and bounce ideas off of and be excited with, and just all of my struggles with that. And then I showed off that art, and that's what you missed on the last writing update. This writing update, we're going to update you on how I've done since then, since that was me trying to get myself back into it, and the new art that I have commissioned for this series. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
I can reach for a well-worn book to give me an escape.
So I have been working on the edits for this book. I got back into it not long after I made my last writing update, so I've been working on it for about almost a month now. Not consistently, but this past like week and a half I've been working on it like almost every day, almost every night. I'm about to hit a point where I can't work on it as consistently because my work schedule is about to just go crazy, and I'm about to work like 9 out of the next 10 days, and I'm not excited about it. It's a good time to update you guys now while I still have the ball rolling. Where I left you guys off in my last writing update, I was on chapter 3, basically going through and just editing what I had already written. In the first half of this draft was actually written in 2019 for NaNoWriMo in 2019, and then I completed the draft, did the second half of it in 2020 for NaNoWriMo. So going back and doing the edits on like the first couple of chapters, it's like I'm not in that headspace anymore because I did that in 2019. So it's like trying to go back and like figure out what I was doing and then like figure out what I want to do with it now, because there's so many small changes that I'm making to it, and it's like even though they're small changes and like the general course of things is still the same in the book, it has such a small like domino effect that I'm finding with every time I open up a new chapter and I've like finished one and I'm going to edit the next one, it's like I have to rewrite this whole chapter. That's basically happened to me both with chapter 4 and chapter 5. I'm on chapter 6 right now, so I have made it 3 whole chapters since our last update, which doesn't seem like a lot, but I've been putting the work in. I completely rewrote chapter 4. Most of what was in the previous chapter 4, I scrapped it because it was nothing really happened in the original chapter 4. It was just kind of like nothing was happening. It was nothing important, nothing to progress the story or develop the characters. It was like just taking up space. So I pretty much rewrote that chapter to kind of work in some seeds of stuff that actually matters and some, you know, development and stuff. And then I had to do the same thing with chapter 5. A lot of chapter 5 stayed the same, like what was happening in it, but I still rewrote almost the whole thing to kind of like just reframe everything and to make it look better and make more sense and more cohesive with the things that I'm changing. And now I'm on chapter 6, which is actually really exciting that I've made it to chapter 6, because chapter 6 is where things start picking back up again. So the prologue from the bad guy's point of view, right? We're starting on a prologue from his point of view, which is not, you're not really getting much out of it, just like a little teaser, which I still don't know if I want to keep that, but it's there for now. And then, you know, chapter 1 isn't that exciting. You start with Rainy just running away from her foster parents, and just seems like a normal, she's just running away. She just turned 18. She's like, I can run away now, like they can't do anything about it. I'm gonna go off on my own. And then of course things happen right after she runs away, and that's where the story takes place. So like things kick off pretty fast, like in chapter 1, or is it in chapter 2? It kicks off pretty fast, but then it slows back down again in like 3, 4, and 5. But chapter 6 is where we kind of pick the action back up again. Not really, there's no action in chapter 6, but the tension is building because a new character has come in and things are happening and they're like, oh god, we have to do something about this. And so the chapter after this, it's going to be exciting. We get to introduce one of my favorite characters. My favorite characters, don't listen to me. My favorite characters, Echo, who is one of the characters I've got commissioned for the new commission that I've done this time. Fun story. So my birthday was in April. It was April 1st. And one of my boyfriend's birthday presents to me was to get me like a gift card to this artist for getting these commissions done. because I was like so happy when I got the first one done. Like, it was just, it's such an experience to have these characters living in your head for such a long time, to finally have like art made of them, to like see them and like have it turn out how you picture them. Like, this is like what I see in my head, and I can show it to other people instead of just being like trying to like describe it, and like, you know, it's such an experience. And I was so happy when I got that art done the first time of Rainy and Dice. And my boyfriend decided to go ahead and, you know, preemptively buy me several more commissions from this artist. So I'm just so excited. I've got the one that I got done just now, I actually didn't do with my boyfriend's money. My friend Haley, blessed, beautiful, lovely Haley, decided that her birthday present for me was to put money towards getting the commission done of these specific characters. She wanted her money to go to this one because of reasons, which I'm going to get into in a minute. I'm just so excited to be getting this art done, because it's just, I highly recommend, like, if you are a writer and like you are highly, deeply, intricately attached to your characters in such intense ways, and you can afford to get art made of them, do it. It's so great. It's so great. I just, like, it's such a good feeling. Like, I can ride this high for weeks. I'm so excited, and it makes me want to write more now that I'm like getting these art commissions done. It makes me want to keep putting the work in on the story, which is fabulous because I need to do that. As I said, I am currently on chapter 6. So like, we're not far in. I don't know how many chapters that this book is going to end up being, because the way that I wrote out the original draft, I wasn't sure where I was like adding scenes in and stuff, because the book is split into 3 parts. You got part 1, part 2, and part 3. Part 1, you follow our like first set of characters, and then part 2, you switch to 3 different characters, and you only follow those 3 for part 2. And then you realize that that timeline is lining up with the timeline in part 1, and then part 3 is kind of where those all come together, and then we follow all of them together. And so I didn't quite know what I was doing. Like, I couldn't number the chapters because I wasn't doing it in order the first time. I was like adding stuff in later, so I don't actually know the total account of chapters in this book yet, but I'm on 6, and right now with the current edits, I am at 24,448 words on the current draft edits. I think compiled, the original draft was like a little over 100,000. I don't remember by how much, and I think that I want to stay in that range. I don't really know, like, it's hard to know what the correct like word count is for what I'm writing. This definitely feels like YA. It reads like YA for sure, absolutely. But it's technically, I think, would be considered new adult, because it does get some darker themes throughout. Not so much in book 1, but like overall I think the series would have to be considered new adult. I don't think it could be considered YA. I'm not sure. But it's also like a little bit of like sci-fi and like urban fantasy, and like it fits like all these little categories just a little bit, and like I don't really know what to classify it as, and it drives me crazy. But right now I'm aiming for around 100,000 words because that feels right. I've googled different things, and that seems to be like the right range I should be aiming for, maybe. So that's what I'm aiming for. We'll see what it gets to when I finish. I've been sending the updated chapters to Casey and Haley and my friend Alex. So they are my, well, they're not beta readers. I guess they're officially alpha readers because they're the only ones who are reading it, the first ones who are reading it. And I'm struggling to not go back and like edit what I've already showed them after getting their feedback on things. I want to, but it's like I should just keep moving forward with like the second draft edits and keep sending it to them, and then I can go back and do draft 3 when I take all their feedback from it. But it's like such a struggle to just like stay where I'm at and not go back and try to fix everything after they've told me what they think needs fixing and stuff. But it's also just so scary to let people read it, even though I'm sending it to people who have a strong bias. Like, I don't care what you guys say. Casey, Haley, Alex, you're all very biased. Like, no matter how good your feedback is, you're still being biased, and we both know it. So I do need to like open up and be a little bit braver and let other people who I'm not as personally close with read it. I do have some friends in my writing group in the Discord, which if you aren't a part of the writing group Discord and you would like to be, I will leave a link down below, so you feel free to join that. It's open to anyone. But I have a few friends in there who have shown interest in reading it, and it terrifies me because I know that they are also writers. So it's like, not only do I know that they're readers, but they're also writers, and so that will be very beneficial to me, having that kind of critique on it. But it terrifies me because I know it's not good. It's not good yet, but it's like I have strong ideas and I have really strong characters, and I think I'm good with like my dialogue and my character relationships and dynamics and character growth and like their internal struggles. Like all the character stuff is my strong point, at least I think it is. I'm very weak when it comes to describing things. I don't know what happened. I used to be able to describe things really, really well. I used to be able to just like take a scene and like really paint the picture of it. Now I don't describe anything. I'm like, I can see it in my head. I can see perfectly what things look like, but I cannot transfer that to the page. So I really need to work on like filling out descriptions of things. Like it's not like I'm doing bad descriptions. I'm just not doing descriptions like at all. And it's a problem. It's a real problem. So I'm gonna have to go back and work on filling out descriptions when I do draft 3, because I'm still not doing it while I'm working on draft 2. I'm just trying to kind of fix what's there and make the story more cohesive. So when I go to do draft 3, I'm really going to try to work on like bulking up the scenes with nice, beautiful imagery where you can see what's happening, because I'm not describing it right now. So there's that. That's one of my huge shortcomings. Also just plot in general. Like I technically have plot, but like the getting it cohesive and like making sense and like going in nice linear structure and all coming to get like it's a struggle for me. Like taking what's in my head and putting it on the page in a way that makes sense and works throughout every scene, and the progression of the plot making sense, like all of that. Descriptions and plots, those are my big weaknesses, I think. So those are the things I'm going to work on when I get into draft 3. But right now on draft 2, I am just kind of cleaning it up and like rewriting it in a more structured way, changing things that need to be changed for the plot, for the story, for the characters. And then when I go to do draft 3, I will have that feedback from my friends that I can pull from when I go to rewrite it for draft 3, and I can work that in to really make draft 3 a nice, better, fuller, polished book, hopefully. So my hopes is when I do the 3rd draft, it's going to be a lot better. I'm not sure if I want to do draft 3, like get through draft 2 and then do draft 3 before I send it to more people to read, because again, I'm so scared, because like I know it's not good, and like I know they're gonna tell me that. Hopefully they're honest and they tell me what needs fixing and stuff, and like I need them to tell me that, but also like I'm a sensitive little bean and I don't want that to keep anybody from being honest with me. Like I need them to be honest, but I'm also like I just don't want it to be to the point where it really discourages me from continuing. And so trying to find that balance of like getting the feedback I need and the critique, and then being able to take that critique and actually use it to better the story I'm trying to tell, and not like having it beat me down and make me not want to write, is trying to find that balance is going to be rough. I do think I'm probably gonna have to let like a couple more people read draft 2, just so I can have a wider range of feedback from different perspectives and different people who are looking at it in different ways when I go to do the 3rd draft, so the draft 3 can be the best that it can be. But I'm scared. I'm so scared, because it's not good. Like I'm not being humble when I tell you guys it's not good. Like I have good ideas, I have good characters, I have some solid stuff to work with, but what is there is not great yet. Anyways, that's where we're at right now with the draft. I am on chapter 6. Things are getting heated up. I'm really excited about it. I'm not going to get too deep into what's like going on with the actual story in this writing update. I do want to tell you guys more about what's happening, like more about the story in general in these writing updates, because I mean like there is like the fear of like putting too much out there and then someone trying to steal it, but again, this isn't good. Who's going to steal it? But I am protective of it, because like I've been working on this for like over a decade. It's so precious to me. And so kind of opening up about actual things in the story is a little hard, but I do want to get better at that, so that way the people who are following this writing journey and who are really enjoying my writing videos actually get more out of it and can kind of like really go on this journey with me in like a more personal way. So stay tuned for writing update number 3, and we will get more into that stuff. I did, however, decide that in this writing update I would like to talk to you about one specific character, and that is Phoenix Hawthorne. The art that I've commissioned this time is of 2 of my characters, Echo Holloway and Phoenix Hawthorne. I'm so excited about this art. I'm going to show it to you now because it's finished. I'm going to put it on the screen, probably in front of my face here. It's going to be here in front of my face. Isn't it gorgeous? I'm so in love with this. I can't even get over how like great the expressions are by like what I told her I wanted, and I mean, I gave as much detail as I could for like what I wanted, how I wanted them to like be with each other in the picture, but she really captured it so well, and it's so good. Like look at it, it's so pretty. I'm so happy with how this art turned out. I love all of my characters. They're like all my children. I love them all so much. And people say like, you know, you don't have favorites, but like these aren't real people and I'm allowed to have favorites. And I'll be honest, I think Rainy and Dice have to be my favorites just because they've been with me the longest. They are the two original characters from the very, very, very beginning of this thing coming together. They existed way before the story existed. But I also just have like such a deep love of Phoenix because Phoenix as a character was gifted to me by my friend Haley. When I first started actively working on this story, like actively, not just like imagining it and thinking about it and stuff, like actively properly writing it down in this version of the story where I actually had this plot idea and not just like characters and trying to figure out what world they went in. It was in 2013. And for some reason I'm crazy and I like having 20,000 characters in my stories because I'm stupid as hell and I hate myself. That's fine. I went to my friend Haley and I said, wouldn't it be neat if you gave me a character for this book because I want to put another character in here. I didn't know what I wanted from this character. I just wanted another person. I didn't care if it was like a boy, girl, who they were, how old they were, what they were doing. I told Haley kind of what I already had, what the story was about, like gave her information on these other characters, and I was like, who can we put in here in this mix? Give me something to work with. I was like, you can just give me a character name, a description, like however you can pick their powers, whatever you want, however small or big, give me a character. And Haley came through. Haley had already had this character that she'd invented long before I ever met Haley, and her name was Phoenix. So Haley told me about this character, and we kind of reshaped her a little bit to fit in my story. We gave her some backstory and some powers, and we worked her into the plot and figured out like what her dynamics are going to be with the other characters. And she's definitely changed a lot over time since when Haley first gave her to me. She's evolved a ton since that first rendition of her, and I've done a lot with her that isn't quite the same as what was first handed to me, but at her core of like who she is as a character is still the same person. And I just have such a deep love and attachment to Phoenix because it came from Haley, and it's not just like something that I created, it's something that my friend created with me and gave to me and helps me build, and it's so special to me for that reason. And so I just like, I have such a like special love of this character. I love all of my characters. Like there's not one that I don't love. I'm deeply attached to all of these kids. Phoenix is a little extra special for that reason, and that's why Haley wanted to be the one who paid for this commission, because it was a Phoenix and Echo, who are her two favorites, of course, in my series, because she helped make Phoenix, and Echo is Echo. There you have it. I've made it to chapter 6. I've got new art commissioned. I'm feeling good. I'm struggling. It's been really hard. Editing has been so hard lately, but I've been doing it. I've been sitting down and I've been doing it. I've been pushing through. Even though I'm going slow, I'm doing it, and I'm proud of myself. And I'm hoping that when I come at you guys with a third writing update, I'll have even more to tell you. I can tell you more about what's going on in the story, more about the characters and their powers and their relationships. I want to give you guys something so that you can really be on this journey with me and be excited about the things as I make these progress videos for you guys. I also think that since doing these writing videos, it's kind of like its own little corner of our channel. Like most of our stuff is like bookish reading stuff, and this is kind of, I mean, it's adjacent, but it's still separate. I kind of want to make this like its own little series where it's like episodes instead of just like here's a writing update. I want to make them like episodes to a series, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to call the series, and Casey's idea was that I should call it Deviant Drafts because I am drafting my Deviant series. So right now, like the working title of this series is just Deviants, and so since it works, I like it, so I think that's what this writing series is going to be called. It's going to be called Deviant Drafts. So this is officially episode 2 of Deviant Drafts, and yeah, so stay tuned for the third episode coming soon, hopefully. Since your first update post-draft was about a month ago, and I'm doing this now, I'll probably try to do them like once a month, assuming I'm continuously working on the book, so hopefully you'll get writing updates once a month at a minimum. That'll be nice and consistent. And yeah, and I'm really excited. See, I told you guys that my boyfriend has already like pre-bought me commissions from this artist, so in your next writing update there will be another commission to show off. She's already told me that we could start it in just a couple of days, even though we just finished this one, and I'm so excited. So stay tuned for that to see more art of my original characters and to see how far I've gotten in the draft. And thank you to all of you who have been supporting me with not just like my bookish content, but my writing content, and have been excited for me to be on this writing journey, to actually be making progress with this story that means so much to me. Like I really want to be a published author. That's what I want to be. I want to write stories, and for the longest time I didn't think that was something I could do. Like I was always writing stories, telling stories, making up stories, I was always into acting and like improv, and even as a kid I just would always like make stuff up and like loved to play and pretend and like all this stuff. Like I've always been like this, and I never really thought it was something that I could do for like a living. And I mean, obviously I can't yet, and I don't know that even if I were to become a published author it would be something I could live off of, because you know, you gotta really get out there for that to be something you can like solely live off of. But it is, I think, something I've realized that I really do want to do, and I'm going to continue working towards doing it because it's what I want, and it doesn't seem impossible. It seems out of reach right now, but it doesn't seem impossible. So I'm going to keep trying and keep working towards that, and maybe one day I'll get there. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this writing update for episode 2 of Deviant Drafts. And I will see you guys next time. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And stay tuned for the next writing update. Life Before Death, Radiance.
You ever want to write a novel? A lot of people want to write a book. So sit down.